It starts with blue lights. Not the kind that flicker from a stage show on the Strip. These ones were spinning across the cracked stucco walls of a gated apartment complex in North Las Vegas. A siren whines low, then cuts out. The night is heavy with the hum of police radios. White robes stained with blood, lips split, one eye swollen, no tears though. Her voice is soft, open quote. It was my boyfriend, I mean my ex. He beat me, he has a gun, he's a pimp. Close quote. That was the first time she told the truth, sort of. Alisha Grundy sits on the witness stand, voice steady, eyes fierce. She recounts in chilling detail how Raymond Sharpe pistol-whipped her, beat her across her face, and left her half-naked on the stairs in July 2011. She testifies, her pain naked in front of the jury. Sharpe is convicted on 13 counts, including first-degree kidnapping and pandering with force, and sentenced to 13 life terms, one without possibility of parole. The night Alisha called the cops, she was done. Done being hit, done pretending, done making other people rich. But she wasn't done with the game. She was just flipping the table. Then she goes back. 14. Tucson, Dairy Queen. Braces, butterfly clips, innocence. A smooth man offers concert tickets. She smiles naive, then sits in his car. Vegas. No music, no return ticket. Thus began her life under Raymond Sharpe, groomed, beautiful, terrified. He tattooed his name across her lower back, groomed her to charm the wealthy, trained her to mask fear with lipstick and a smile. Loss of innocence became her schooling in manipulation. She learned to grip control like an iron rail, even as she bled. By 16, she was Sharpe's top earner, a high-track escort. Implants, heels, expensive wardrobes. She never felt safe, but she learned to perform vulnerability. The night she escaped, half-dressed and bruised, she banged on neighbors' doors. Help came. Police found her. She named Sharpe. He was arrested on multiple charges and convicted by July 2012. Enter Detective Chris Baughman. They met on the Vegas Strip. Her at work, him observing. He was the handsome vice detective with a crush. He thought she was out of his league. Beautiful but damaged, perfect damsel. He called her angel, sweetheart, princess, honey, babe, beautiful. He sent her our song, professed I love you, I miss you, begged to rescue her. But she was better at manipulation. Sharpe had taught her well. She smiled, played innocent, coaxed him into sharing witness statements, legal memos, prosecutorial strategy. She made him an unwitting partner, helping build her legal empire. Unbeknownst to many, the prosecutor in Sharpe's case was Liz Mercer, now Baughman's wife. Though engaged at the time, Baughman began a hidden affair with Grundy, while Mercer remained unaware publicly. Mercer eventually recused herself from Sharpe's appeals after FBI scrutiny of the conflict. By 2014-2015, Alisha had charmed an attorney into representing her pro bono. He saw her tears, her fragility, and signed on. She used that legal leverage to file civil suits not just against Sharpe, but his mother, claiming shared assets, emotional damages, stolen property. She condemns Sharpe and his family. The court awarded her millions, homes, jewelry, cars, crypto. An initial judgment of $2.5 million plus a civil judgment of $24 million tied to his assets. She later began working at that same law firm, paralegal certified, legal insider. By day, survivor. By night, still intoxicating. She used burner phones, high-end independent calls, and coached younger women on staying unowned. She preached, no pimps, no love, just leverage. Fast forward, 2024. In February, Sharpe's original convictions, 13 counts life sentences, were vacated. In a plea deal, the charges were reduced to 3 felonies. A judge set him free after almost 13 years behind bars, citing procedural errors and ineffective counsel. Sharpe now asserts injustice, accusing Alisha's influence and Baughman's, claiming her cooperation poisoned the case. A vice detective, a prosecutor, and a call girl. Attraction and manipulation. Baughman considered Grundy too good for the streets, sending affectionate texts, princess, angel, I love you, and offering to rescue her. Meanwhile, Grundy leaned into the illusion, feigning fear, fragility, and brokenness. She never admitted her dependence. She weaponized it. She protected her income from prostitution, knowing Baughman turned a blind eye to her work. Meanwhile, Detective Chris Baughman was enmeshed in his own fixation. He'd begun texts with Grundy, calling her angel, princess, sweetheart, and even I love you. Investigators later conceded those messages compromised his credibility as lead detective, especially since he never disclosed a personal tunnel of romance with a key witness. It starts with a handwritten letter found in the files of the Sharpe appeal. Alisha Grundy, who once testified against Raymond Sharpe, professes undying love for him. She denies any gun or assault, claims she worked of her own free will. The letter reads like a confession, Stockholm Syndrome, some say, but darker. To her, Sharpe wasn't just her pimp, he was the father of her child and in her twisted allegiance still held her heart. But at home, Baughman had Deputy DA Liz Mercer by his side, his fiancée during the Sharpe trial, later his wife. Mercer was prosecuting the case while simultaneously unaware, or in denial, of this emotional triangle. After their marriage, defense attorneys argued her involvement was unethical. Judges recused the DA's office in both Sharpe and Fleming appeals, citing potential conflicts. Grundy's letter to Mercer insists the accusations are false, claiming Sharpe never hit her and she never feared him. She frames it as a stand against her baby dad, being blamed for a story she claimed was never real. Investigators later speculated she wrote it as part of controlling narratives, still playing every angle, still manipulating the system. But Baughman underestimated the power of her dual life. While Mercer offered stability and legal prestige, Alisha offered seduction, chaos, the thrill his wife never provided. He began turning evidence, bending cases, and feeding Grundy insider details, all to distance her from Sharpe and soften Sharpe's threat to her. It worked. Cases against minor pimps began collapsing, convictions once solid unraveled. Defense attorneys cited Baughman's obfuscation. What began as a domestic violence call spiraled into a full-blown pimping investigation. Grundy whispered details. Baughman watched. With Mercer overseeing prosecution, the alleged operation expanded. Other girls from Vegas prostitution rings were brought forward, and the case morphed into a complex trafficking scandal. Grundy's role became pivotal. Baughman privately funneled information to her, enabling her to prepare civil litigation that would seize assets from Sharpe and his associates. Meanwhile, Mercer remained the public face of the prosecution. Influence, legal leverage, and empire building. Grundy retained a civil litigator who agreed to represent her pro bono after she shared her sob story in court. She sued Sharpe, his family, and even his mother, alleging laundered assets. The litigation won her $24 million in judgments and $2.5 million in liquid assets. She later became a paralegal at that same law firm. Concerns around Baughman's ethics erupted in 2017 when the FBI launched a corruption probe into the Vice Unit. Allegations surfaced that Baughman had sexual relationships with key witnesses, including Grundy and Jessica Gruder, during multiple prosecutions like Sharpe's and Fleming's. Mercer, who prosecuted those cases while involved romantically with Baughman, was also implicated. The DA's office recused itself from appeals in both Sharpe and Fleming cases. Judge Michael Villani called the allegations very troubling. Both Baughman and Mercer were subpoenaed and questioned in court. Baughman invoked his Fifth Amendment right multiple times. 1989, Sharpe pleaded guilty to pimping a minor in San Diego County, a serious felony offense. 1992, he pleaded guilty to unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor, again in San Diego County. In a later interview, Sharpe candidly acknowledged these convictions. Open quote, "Yes, I did all three," he said. These convictions placed him on California's sex offender registry and established a pattern of exploiting vulnerable young women well before his operations in Las Vegas. Transition to Nevada and criminal empire. By the early 2000s, Sharpe had moved to Las Vegas. He developed an extensive high-end prostitution network, recruiting primarily young white women, often isolated and vulnerable from around the region. He groomed them into luxury escorts serving wealthy clients at elite strip hotels such as Bellagio, Wynn, Venetian, Aria, and Cosmopolitan. He enforced control through violence and psychological domination, branding many recruits with forced tattoos of his name across their lower backs, a chilling emblem of ownership. Sharpe's pre-2011 criminal record, year, conviction, location, like CA. 1983, assault with a deadly weapon, San Diego, CA. 1989, pimping a minor, San Diego, CA. 1992, unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor, San Diego, CA. These early convictions formed the foundation of Sharpe's criminal pattern: exploitation of minors, violent behavior, and grooming, long before his notorious Las Vegas sex trafficking ring came to light. Either you sell your body or never see your family again. Back to present. Alisha stands outside the Clark County Courthouse. Aviators on, white pantsuit precise, heels echo off marble floors. Grundy continued her VIP lifestyle, providing coke, luxury club access, and tables of women at Vegas's top clubs, thanks in part to her inside protection. She remained a call away from clients seeking hedonistic access to ways she'd always controlled. From her vantage, she's never been a victim. She's orchestrated every player: Sharpe, Baughman, Mercer, attorneys, courts. She took what she deserved. She controls the narrative. And this game, she built it. Princess of the Strip. She wasn't always like this. Once, she was just a pretty white girl from Tucson, green eyes, legs for days, and a full-ride basketball scholarship. But a fight, a party up, and a failed drug test changed all that. And then came Raymond Sharpe. He didn't look like a pimp. No fur coat, no canes. He wore Armani, talked investments, whispered promises. Open quote, "You got potential, baby. You just need direction. Let me protect you." Close quote. She wasn't stupid, but she was tired of the game. She fell into him. And just like that, she was his. He gave her rules. No working solo, no speaking to outsiders, no looking tired, no attitude. And if she broke them, he gave her beatings. But she stayed, like the other girls did, because Raymond didn't just break their bodies, he rewired their minds. Las Vegas welcomed her like it always does, with open arms and empty promises. She bought her first fake Louis bag with the first cash call, then the Jimmy Choos, then the implants. When I met Raymond Sharpe, I was already 20 steps ahead. I wasn't innocent. I was the predator, and the forest was full of unsuspecting prey. Courtroom opening. Sharpe's conviction. The judge's gavel fell. I sat in the witness box, voice trembling, bruises still visible on my collarbone. I delivered the prepared testimony. How Sharpe pistol-whipped me, slammed me downstairs, and threatened me with a gun. I told them how terrified I was, how helpless. That helped put him away. 3 life terms, 1 without parole. But that was only the performance. The next act started before that jury even walked in. Flashback, the first deception. I was 14, sweet, damaged, trailer trash vulnerable, when I sat in an ice cream parlor in Tucson. I saw Sharpie pull up. I had seen his type before. Glossy collared, quiet intense. He promised me a concert ride, VIP access. I knew he had no tickets, but I needed something different, something more. I needed an escape, so I played along. When we drove to Vegas and he locked the doors, that weasel thought he had trapped me. He didn't know I'd already decided he'd be the means, my opportunity. He didn't groom me. I let him train me. He taught me to walk in heels, to cry softly, to take orders. I kept the lessons and buried the pain, because I knew if I mastered the game, one day I'd own it. The pyramid of power. Soon I was walking clients at Wynn and Bellagio, gaslit into glamour. He branded me with a tattoo. I accepted it, not as ownership, but as proof I could rise within his hierarchy. He recruited other girls after me. I watched how he coerced them. Isolation, beatings, enforced loyalty. I studied. I saw how fear warped them. I adapted instead. Every caged girl Sharpe created gave me ammunition. Every broken recruit amplified my leverage. Enter Detective Chris Baughman. He found me working the strip near the Venetian. When he approached, I was ready. He fell for the damsel. "You're too good for this," he said. The texts came. Princess, angel, sweetheart. He sent our song. His fingers shook as he typed, "I love you." I smiled behind the texts, played frightened, allowed him to be the hero. What I extracted was priceless. Witness docs, strategy outlines, prosecutor notes, all courtesy of his collapse. He wasn't rescuing me. He was bait, and I was fishing. The legal seduction, I met a civil litigator through a mutual contact. Tearfully told him the story. Broody, fragile, traumatized. He signed up pro bono. I sued Sharpe, then his mother. Claimed emotional damage, stolen earnings, ownership of assets she laundered. The suit won me over $24 million in judgments and $2.5 million in cash. Sharpe's mama lost her home. And then? That same lawyer hired me as his paralegal. Underestimate the danger of a sob story. By day I argued motions, by night I still pulled high-end calls, private, exclusive, independent. The twist. Sharpe's release in 2024, the bomb dropped. Sharpe, my puppet master and father of my son, got out. The state vacated his 18 convictions. They cut it to 3 felonies. He walked. He claimed justice. He said I'd fooled them all. Maybe, but he always underestimated me. He wrote letters, begged. I didn't respond. Survivor or strategist? I stand now outside the Bellagio, heels clicking on marble. Someone asked, do you regret any of it? I lit a cigarette. Smiled. Open quote, regret isn't part of my vocabulary. I'm not a survivor, I'm a strategist. Close quote, my phone vibrates. Suite 2801 Aria, champagne only, bring cash. I reply, on my way, and honey, don't call me princess. She started showing up in court, this time in heels and a blazer instead of lingerie and bruises. But here's the thing. At night, she still worked. Not for a man, for herself. She still had a burner phone, still had clients, still coached younger girls how to stay independent and know their worth. Open quote, no pimps, just paper. Bitcoin, baby. Get your face done, keep your mouth shut, and never catch feelings. Close quote, she wore Chanel now, drove a matte black Range Rover, lived in a penthouse, kept a Glock in the drawer and an NDA on the nightstand. Open quote, I learned from Raymond how to manipulate. Baughman, he was easy. Close quote. The aftermath, Chris Baughman was forced out of Metro. His vice unit fame ended amid scandal, and many convictions he secured, especially those involving pimping, became ripe for appeal. Liz Mercer remains in the DA's office, though officially walled off from any pimp-related prosecutions. Yet critics say her marriage to Baughman still tarnishes the perception of prosecutorial impartiality. Alisha Grundy, still active in the underground of Vegas nightlife, continues to offer VIP services, access to clubs, and women ready to obey, protected by the same network she once helped unravel. This triangle, Grundy's seductive manipulation, Baughman's obsession, Mercer's conflicted prosecution, created chaos that became part of Sharpe's retrial motions. The personal became political, and the courtroom became ground zero for scandals tied to corruption, desire, and power. Chris Baughman, he got caught, his texts were leaked, he lost his badge, his book deal, his reputation. The courts, they never saw her coming. She wasn't just a victim, she was the one holding the puppet strings. Last scene, she's standing outside the Clark County Courthouse. Sharp pantsuit, designer bag. A reporter asks her, do you regret anything? She smiles slow. Open quote, regret? Nah, regrets for people who didn't win. Close quote, she puts on her sunglasses and walks away. Her heels click like gunshots. The screen fades to black. A phone buzzes. Text message, Suite 2609, no cops, no talking, bring cash. She replies, on my way, sweetheart, Sting. She didn't survive the game. She became it.